That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, we are live from New York. It's 6 o'clock.
Okay, this is the March 23rd, 2022 meeting of the Village of Millbrook Board of Trustees. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So tonight's agenda is relatively short. Karen's going to give an overview of the consolidated plan. And then I asked the department heads to attend if they had any questions or any additional reviews we wanted to do. And so I talked to Scott, who says he's happy with the numbers we have for water and sewer. Talked to Bob, he's okay with the highway numbers. And the fact that Jared's not here, I assume he's okay with the police. Which was pretty straightforward because the only thing we did was up his gas numbers. So based on that, I'm assuming we're okay there. So we'll talk about the fire and rescue budget. And then we'll go into executive session to discuss salary and medical insurance. So a relatively short agenda for today.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get
Wait, let me just
started.
say this before we start. Special accolades have to be made to the girls' high school basketball team of Millbrook, who this weekend won the state championship. So it's quite an accomplishment for that team. And it's the second time they've won the state championship in the last 4 or 5 years. That class probably could have won a couple the last 2 years if they hadn't COVID restrictions. So I was really happy to see they got the opportunity to show how good they were. That was quite an accomplishment. And Mike, you were going to follow up on that?
Yeah, I'm passing out something now, so
What is that?
the resolution.
Oh, you want to do a resolution now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since we're discussing it now, I might as well.
Sure.
If you object, it's fine.
No. Okay. You guys got it? So Mike, why don't you read this into the record, please?
Okay, well, before I do that, just 1 minute of background. I at the mayor's request, I called the superintendent of schools and said, given the championship and the fact that the village would like to do something to recognize it, did she have any suggestions? And she said that she had nothing, but did I have anything in mind? And I said I'd like to be able to have a resolution adopted at a meeting, which basically was a resolution of congratulations that could then be published and then be presented either to the board or to the girls in at the high school while they're in class. And she thought that was a wonderful idea. I wrote up something this afternoon, which is back of that, it's a resolution, and she's checking with the coach and with the other school personnel to see whether or not we should present this to the girls during the day of school or at a board meeting later on. So.
All right, great. Let's do this in the record, and then maybe Sarah can type it up.
Possibly.
I can send it to you electronically. I did this like at 3 o'clock this
That would be
afternoon. That's why
wonderful.
it's not, I didn't want to send it out, but that's fine.
Well, we don't know a year for you to type all this in the computer, so let's let her take it.
I know she'll do a better job than I would. So it's fine.
Duly noted. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, all right. So it says, Village of Millbrook Board of Trustees Resolution Number blank, 2022 Millbrook Girls Varsity Basketball Championship, activity title, congratulations to team and staff. And I have, whereas the 2022 Millbrook Girls Varsity Basketball team succeeded on March 20th, 2022 in capturing the PHSAA Class C Basketball Championship. And whereas the team played with great skill, focus under pressure, and exhibited outstanding sportsmanship, and whereas the results caused a spontaneous local parade and had fans cheering on the village streets, and whereas the championship win instilled pride in our community for Millbrook students and residents, and whereas the victory has provided inspiration for future students to to repeat this great accomplishment, and whereas the team members and staff have shown they are worthy role models for students and residents alike, now therefore be it resolved that this resolution of congratulations to the 2022 Millbrook varsity basketball team is approved. Be it further resolved that this resolution be given to the proper representative of the village of the Millbrook School District is authorized. Then we have to move it.
I'll make that motion in a second.
Summation.
Okay.
Mayor Calvi,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Contino,
Aye.
Trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Trustee Arbogast,
Aye.
Trustee Doral.
Very nice, Mike. Thanks for doing that.
No problem.
Okay, Karen, let's go through your summary of the consolidated budget.
Okay, the 2022-23 budget is being presented below the tax cap with $4.85 per thousand assessed value, up 1% from last year. Major changes to the budget are as follows. In the general fund expenses, most utility line items have increased due to the increase on energy costs. Workers' comp, general liability, and medical insurance have increased by approximately 5%. Fire expenses have increased by $30,500. That's Northern Dutchess, the cancer policy, and LoSAP. Included in the fire department repair line item is the second payment of $14,000 towards the new roof. The line items for long-term debt of $19,000 was added for the debt service for the retaining wall project. Revenues, anticipated revenue from interest and earnings has been decreased due to the continued low interest rate forecast. The New York State quarterly sales tax has increased by $6,000 as revenues have and are expected to increase. Due to the increase in activity and no more COVID restrictions, the town court and school patrol line items have increased by $6,000 altogether. The building permit renovation line items increased by $5,000 as a result of an increase in building activity. New York State mortgage tax increase of $11,500 is solid as the 5-year trend is looking excellent. The New York State aim will remain the same as it has been for the past several years at $9,185. Besides the increase in the above revenues, the assessed valuation for the village as a whole has gone up by 1.2%. In the water fund, with the increase in the cost to supply water and manage the plant, the board will propose a 7.4% increase, which equates to 50 cents per thousand gallons used. We're paying interest only on 2 bond anticipation notes totaling $750,000 that will need to be converted to long-term debt in the coming years. $5,000 is budgeted to be transferred to the capital reserve for water. The water fund total budget is $338,950. In the sewer fund is holding steady with this year. And this year we will be bonding $250,000 for a capital project to replace the Bennett pump station. $10,000 is budgeted to be transferred to the capital reserve for sewer. The total sewer fund, sewer budget for this year is $375,162.
Okay. Any questions about any part of this except for the fire rescue, which will hold the end? Mike, as a member of the community, you also have a chance to comment about the other stuff if you want. Board members, any problems, any issues?
I just have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
In the gasoline item on central garage and the gasoline, we've already incurred expenses of about $715 this year with the cost of gasoline going up, but we only put $650 in gasoline for next year. Should we up that by a couple $100 to about $800 for gasoline in the central budget for that?
I'd say at this point, it's not enough to really make a
It's
big
small,
difference.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather not. I mean, this is formalization.
Okay.
We had a discussion with Bob about that, and he was not really interested in having to move it up.
Okay. All right.
Well, then, Nicole, restructure how that's divvied
The
out.
allocation,
Yeah.
yeah, which reduces percent allocation for next year. So that, the number shouldn't be that bad.
Okay, all right. The second question I had, and this is, under road paving, about $35,000, we've got CHIPS money. I just wanted to check and find out, what happens if we don't get the grant for the sidewalk? Are we going to ditch doing North Avenue, or do we put that money towards phase one in the sidewalk?
My preference would be figure out some other way to do the sidewalks and not do them this year. In other words, I think we should use the CHIPS money to get the roads paved as a top priority, but that's where I'm coming from.
And there may be other options for going up to grant, so
Yeah.
I think we should keep our eyes open.
Okay, well, as long as the board's comfortable
Well, I'd like you for the rest of it.
putting off
Well, Peter, what do you
sidewalks
think?
for the rest of the year, I just wanted to clarify. 'Cause
So it's a what-if scenario. If the, block grant for the sidewalks doesn't come through.
When will we know that?
I'm sorry?
When will we know at least?
Next couple of months.
We'll know definitely by June, but.
I actually talked to
that's after
Deidre today about, because I said to her, just as you walked in, I said to her, it's kind of a black box, this process, the block grants, and we haven't heard anything, so should we be asking, or talking to somebody, or buying cups of coffee for people, I don't know. And so she said she was gonna send an email to somebody in that chain of command and ask if there's a status or if we should be doing anything to follow up. And I said to her, I don't want it to be like, we're trying to pull somebody's chain or something, but if that information that we need to help us better posture for any, activity, I'd like to know about that. All right, so we're waiting to hear back from Deidre to do that.
It would be it's helpful that she's asking.
Yeah, okay, all right, good.
It's a competitive grant.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should have asked months ago.
Well, if she's in the mix,
Yeah, okay.
that can only be
All right, fine.
if she wants.
So that's the status.
She's been aware of it, but that's why I talked to you about
Yeah, okay.
making sure we needed to, poke the bear a little bit and find out, and she'd be the person to do that as a county representative for our area.
It's a tough call, Mike. It's between the sidewalks, which really need to be replaced because we've got liable issues with people tripping on those stupid bricks. And we got roads that, are also liable
Oh, I
issues.
agree, that's why, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure the board was aware, it might come down to an either-or situation, and.
I'm thinking Plan B will be we get twice as much CHIPS money so we can do both.
Whatever. And Santa Claus too.
Okay, yeah, right. Why not?
Why not? That's pretty much it. I've got a couple of questions for Sarah. Just one thing I picked up quickly, maybe you could help. I noticed in the shade tree expenditures for things we've actually expended this year of an amount of $22.50, and we haven't planted a tree since last year, so I'm not trying to figure out where that $22.50 came
We would
from.
have to look. I don't.
That's my question for Nicole.
Yeah.
What it was that was charged against that account.
Yeah, because I'm planning on putting in at least 3 trees come this spring.
Okay.
But $22.50 would all but take out our allocation for the year, and I was.
Well, but you still got that reserve, right?
I know, because hoping.
But that's a good question. We should check to make sure we're using.
I'm hoping that 7,500 is our reserve in case we get the grant but need money to pay
Okay,
the
fine.
trees.
All right, so let's talk about fire and rescue. So the numbers that were shown, Ted, Matt, you guys looked at those. You okay with the numbers? That includes the $14,000 for the second payment of the wall of the roof. The roof. So what's the status of the discussions regarding the roof? We had a meeting on Saturday, and Bob Ollier was there, Mike, from the town. And I thought we left it with an agreement that we were okay with this proposal from the fire company to have the town and village pay $85,000 over 6 years. As long as we got comfortable with the warrant on it. Now, Ed said he was going to go contact the company and get his feedback as soon as he could. He wasn't sure what would happen today. I assume since he's not here, he hasn't gotten any feedback yet. Is that true?
Was Ed supposed to be at the meeting?
I invited him.
Okay.
And the condition was, if he gets feedback, something he can talk about, he's coming. Otherwise, no.
I got a couple things emailed to me today, but I want to clarify it before I
All right.
bring it to the board.
Okay, so I guess the question I've got, let's start with Mike. Assuming we get the warranty understood and agreed to by everybody. Does the town agree with this idea of paying $85,000 over 6 years?
We looked at the commitment that was put into the budget this year of 14,000.
Yeah.
Obviously, that continues through to December. So the payment for next year would be probably including that. But Bob hadn't brought it back to the board yet.
No. The $14,000 we budgeted last year is to be paid by before June 1st of this year.
Whatever the agreement
Yeah,
is.
so that was
It's
in
in our
the money.
budget.
That was in the money that you guys paid in February, March for our current year contract.
Right.
Okay. So that 14,000 is there ready to be paid as soon as you guys get a contract. We're talking about
Future.
the future.
And Bob hadn't brought it to us yet, so.
Oh, okay.
He just said he came to the meeting on Saturday. He was still trying to get Ed to find out, and I guess Skylar's not here. He's away.
He was away over the weekend. He was supposed to be coming back
Right.
on Monday.
So Bob was still working on that. I know that.
All right. So I thought Bob agreed, he was going to take it to the board with the agreement that said, pending resolution of this warranty, we'd be okay with this $85,600.
I know there will be discussion between services and capital expenditures, so I don't know what the outcome of that
Okay.
discussion will be.
So when will the board meet and have this resolved?
They meet in 3 weeks, I think. The April meeting. Second Tuesday, or second Thursday of the month.
That's a problem for us because we're having the public hearing the Tuesday before your Wednesday meeting.
We'll give Bobby a call, and maybe we can do a special meeting.
Okay, sure.
I'm sure Gary would do that.
All right. Does the village board agree with this plan?
Yes.
Does the rest of the village board know that the fire department has voted to donate the $145,000 to the village?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the fire company is paying 60% of it.
And that was another thing that you were going to find out from the lawyer is since the fire department is paying the majority of it, does it have to be prevailing wage?
So the initial response back from him was yes, it does, because it's a public works progress. I said, are you really sure? He said, well, it doesn't have to be a check. And yes, someone's got to check in his office. So initial response is, yes, it is. I'll follow up and make sure that's
I mean, I think it is too, but
Yeah.
That was our
it's worth pursuing.
but it's
Right.
exactly.
Okay. Okay, so I don't see us resolving the roof issue tonight. Let me ask you this. The other items in the fire rescue budget. Mike, are you as the rep for the town okay with those other items?
Yes, there were no problems.
Okay, so given the fact that, by the way, the budget for the fire rescue is going up 30,000, as Karen noted, from last year to this year, why? NDP goes up 2.5% a year, that's 10,000. We're under budgeting LoSAP, that's going up 16,000. And the cancer insurance increase, right?
And we talked about
And then the contractual expenses, you guys did a good job with increase those 2,000 on a base of 131,000. So that's a total of 30,000 increase in that budget. And again, assuming that the 14,000 is in there, well, it is in there for the second payment of the. So what does it take to get you as the rep for the town to agree with those budget items for our budget for this year?
I just have to report it back to our board.
Okay. So given your meeting is not until after our public hearing,
I can report this stuff now.
okay, fine. But the resolution of the roof, we still should have probably a special meeting.
I'll talk to Gary.
Okay, good. Appreciate it. You know what your response is, if you can get together before then. Does the rest of the board have any issues with the fire rescue elements that are in there, including the additional 30,000 that we've put in to reconcile some issues we had last year? Oh, by the way, Ted, I got to tell you, you're way over on the LoSAP and insurance budget for this year. I'm still looking for you to find out ways to reconcile that for this year's budget. All right.
I don't have an answer for that. The LoSAP it's just.
No, I'm saying out of other buckets.
Oh, I see.
So you're underspending, trading, I think there's another category.
Correct.
I know it must be between now and the end of the fiscal year, but I would like you to be focused on trying to find ways that you could.
No, it was a little
Compensate.
money left
Oh,
in
yeah.
those other areas.
Okay, fine. So I do want you to be looking at that for the sake of trying to compensate. Okay, the other, Matt, is the other two issues is blinds and windows. Talk to us about what's going on there. What's the cost?
The blinds will be under $5,000.
Okay, so that'll fit in the current year budget for what do you call it? Repairs and maintenance.
There's money in it.
Okay, fine. What about the windows?
I haven't looked on the windows.
Okay. So I guess
we were seeing to see how much money was left over from the blinds to put towards
okay.
the windows. I'm not going to have 2 windows done at the end for this budget, and then 6 windows done next year.
Why not?
That'd be senseless.
You couldn't start the project right at the end of this fiscal year. And
Yeah, but next year would only be after June 1st. If you were,
You could even get the windows.
Right.
Okay, there. But I mean, you can link it. You know, you can time it so that it's the end of this fiscal year and the start of next fiscal year.
Are you getting quotes?
I wasn't for the windows. I was trying to get the blinds situated first.
All right, so the blinds are done, right? Approved by the budget.
I'm still waiting another quote.
Oh, you need another quote. Okay, fine. So as far as we're concerned, the money's in there for the blinds. Right?
Correct.
Okay, good. So you're doing it for CAD this year.
No, the blinds will be done,
Okay, fine.
but I have another. I have to meet with another blind person.
Who was kidding about him using that term? Was that you, Karen?
That was
I
you.
was dying
That
about
wasn't
that.
me. You've been
I have another.
notorious for kept
I'm meeting with a company next Wednesday,
Okay.
but out of the 2 quotes that I have already, it's going to be below 5,000.
All right. So all I'm saying is that should be done this year, this fiscal year. And as far as the windows, you figure out how you can stage it. If you can stage it, if you got money, and you can stage it this year or the next year, that's a you can overdo it. All right. Any more questions or comments about the fire and rescue budget?
Just that I'd like to reiterate that at some point in the next couple of budget years, we really need to revisit that capital reserve contribution.
Duly noted again. Yeah.
We've been duly noting it since 2001.
Okay, got it. By the way, have you guys talked about the bed show and tell that you had? This new ambulance transport bed?
Oh,
Have I talked about it?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay, that's not in the budget for this year. Okay. No interest for that? Okay, fine. All right. So then, anything else to discuss before the executive session?
You're gonna do the general code?
Oh, okay. So given where we are financially this year, with extra revenue coming in, including a check we received from the county for sales tax of $43,000, which puts us over the budget we have for revenue for sales tax by $17,000. Even Karen said I could, well, she hasn't said this yet, but I'd like to use that overage to put into this fiscal year a update to the general code, the E-Code 360, to capture all the changes we've made to the code. We've done all these updates to the code. We've gone through public hearings. We've approved it all. And now we need to go through the process of paying an outside company, they're called General Code, to actually update what's online on our system. It's a total of like $3,000, right?
Yeah, it's between $2,710 and $31.95.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve Sarah getting General Code to update the E-Code for all the changes we made to date.
Make that
Yeah.
motion, but just a
Yeah,
question,
time for
how
questions.
do they charge us for that? Is it by the provision, by?
Yeah, so in the proposal, they put in, let's see. So they have like, are you just asking like what the actual charge is or how their process
I'm just curious
is?
if there's economies of scale, if we do more at one time, or I don't even know how it's.
Oh, yeah, well, this is based on the 5 pieces of legislation, so I'm assuming it's by whatever we give them to do, so.
By piece, so
It's a
doesn't
function of
really-
volume.
Yeah, so
it
like
doesn't
we
really
did a
matter
huge
if we
one.
give them a lot or a little.
Yeah, we did a huge one because we hadn't updated or codified a lot of our local laws in many, many years, and it was about, I think it was like $13,000 or something like that. So
It's volume dependent.
yeah,
I just think we've done enough changes so far this time to have the official online. So.
No, I'm all for getting.
Any other discussion about that?
What about the rest of the excess?
That's gonna be sitting there for increasing our unrestricted fund balance unless we figure out something to do between now and the
Right,
year.
So when you get the exact amount, I'll need a budget amendment.
Of course.
At the next meeting, I'll get all the budget amendments ready for April.
Okay,
That
fine.
will increase the sales tax revenue and increase the whatever excess line item we're gonna use.
Okay, so-
well, we have the engineering consultant line that we put a lot of the retaining wall in, and so most of that's coming out. So we have it in that line that we could budget adjust from that too.
Okay.
That's
We'll
another
take a look
budget
at-
amendment.
We'll
Yeah.
take a look at all of them.
Okay.
We have a few budget amendments to do next time.
So in general, the revenues are looking in really good shape this year.
Yep.
So that's why if there are other opportunities that we can find for legitimate expenses that we've been thinking about for the future, we can bring them forward.
And the point that we should make, is the fact that we have gone through many years of going through fund balances in order to pay for things we didn't anticipate, and we're at this stage now we're supposed to be building that fund balance back up again.
And we are, right.
So instead of, unless it's something we have to spend, having an extra certain amount go in the budget and stay there is to our advantage.
Yeah, sure.
Totally agree. Yeah,
Karen paid you $5 for that comment?
totally agree.
I'll get my Tootsie Roll.
Yeah.
It's okay, fine. Okay, I made a motion. Any second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good. We'll do it. Before we go to executive session, I want to talk about MIG grants. Because I think you guys got notice from somebody, maybe Mary Alex, about the Dutchess County. has
Deirdre
these-
and from there.
Oh, DJ, okay. And the question I have is, are you interested in pursuing something like that to cover at least a portion of the roof? And if so, maybe Mike can explain what the process is.
Well, MIG grants are originated years ago, and the idea was it came from revenue sharing from the county by taking sales tax, and instead of the county giving us a straight percentage, they went to taking a certain amount of the sales tax and putting it into a competitive grant pool, so to speak.
So it's competitive.
So it's
Okay.
a competitive grant pool. And in 2016, for instance, they had a grant pool of approximately $1.2 million, which they then increased to 1.5. And we put in an application, we were able to get $200,000 towards the water treatment plant, because the MIG grants have multi-purposes, but they change over a period of time.
Okay.
When Deidre was here the last time, either in January or February, I think when she talked about the MIG grant, she outlined the fact that the county leadership, that we're hoping to spend the majority of the money that we're putting into that fund towards fire rescue and in that category if possible. And therefore, while water treatment and sewer treatment were still eligible for projects, that's where the majority of the money was gonna go. So, we could apply, for instance, this year, by May, in the portal, for part of the funds for a generator, which I know we've talked about. We could also potentially do through possibly FEMA money, but that's another avenue we could go to be able to get money for sewer treatment, for sewer projects, and,
But given the focus on fire rescue, is that something we should look at doing right now? Why not do this for the roof?
It's the village.
Okay.
That's too short.
I don't see any reason why not. If they're gonna focus on fire rescue, then we might
It
have.
says they're gonna get priority to.
Yeah, we might,
Okay.
we might have a better shot at, instead of worrying about getting it for the generator at the sewer treatment plant or some other project that we know that we're gonna, wanna try to fund in the near future. But, we've gotta.
All right, so is it something you could show us how to do, or you could do? Like what does it take to do it? Do we have some specifics from the bid, or?
Well, basically you go through the portal and you have to do it by the beginning of May, but essentially it's putting this up by, electronically put in an application the same as we did for the HUD grant, okay?
Okay.
Except it's reviewed by a different committee of people who
All right.
then give the allocations. In the past, it was done by a special group of supervisors and mayors that were part of the design where the money went.
Okay.
So,
So anyone on the board interested in working with me or working with Mike to pursue this submission, right?
yeah, that's fine. It's not complicated in the past. It's been maybe, 3 sides of a piece of paper. I mean, it's not like putting in
Oh, really?
a gateway grant where
Huh.
you've got, 30 plus pages and a whole lot of criteria like, justice,
Uh,
things or whatever. No, it's just pretty straightforward.
okay. So if no one else is really interested in pursuing, I know you're working on the FEMA stuff, you should continue to do that, that's
I think I
good.
have a little much on it.
But,
I'd like to see the process.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to see the process.
Okay.
It's, would be interesting.
Well, so could you two meet and just
Sure.
see if you can start the process?
Sure.
So Mike, in my mind, let's do this. Let's do this in parallel, but let's still stay focused on Plan A, which is, going after the roof as bid and us paying the 40% over 6 years. And we'll see if we can't get this grant in parallel, okay? Is that a plan, guys?
Yeah, you have a figure to work with now, so.
Yeah, which is a big help.
And Deidre could be an advocate through this as well as
Okay.
county level.
So this is a different group than the block grant?
Yes.
Okay.
The block grant is generally done through the planning department.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, now I could be mistaken, but to my knowledge, it's done by a separate group of people who are evaluating it. And that could have changed since the last time we applied in 2016.
All right, fine. So once you guys meet, see what it's like. I'd be happy to be, look over your shoulder, just see what's going on. But you just give it a shot and let us know.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Sure. No,
Yeah.
I'm happy to bring you into it.
All right, great. Any other topics to discuss before we go to executive session?
I just think that maybe we should all meet for this grant, just get it done if you want to, because we're probably gonna have information from you. Does that work?
Sure.
Sure.
Because it's
Well-
only a couple of pages, what do you,
Yeah, fine. I have no
I
idea
mean,
what it's
because
like.
that way we're not going back and forth and,
Should we start that process before or after we would the bid?
Before.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I think the process should be independent of awarding the bid. Okay.
But we need to award the bid within 30 days.
Okay.
So we have 12
We'll run
days,
it up again.
12 days left.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's why we need to get a meeting with the town.
For
to get
the
this
town,
started.
yeah, so
Okay.
we can for the town's work.
Okay. Mike, I didn't realize that. They need to award the bid within 12 days.
The process will go for 30 days.
Okay, good. All right, fine. Then I'll make a motion that we, want to make a motion to go into executive session, is that the deal?
Well, you might want to dismiss us and then make your motion.
Okay,
Go
so
in.
we'll make a motion to advance to adjourn?
Yeah, whenever you.
No, we're just taking a pause. We're gonna leave, and then you'll go in executive session.
Oh, okay, we're taking a pause. Okay, so